Hey guys, it's Leo Stargazer. I'm here with our daily tarot reading. Today is Friday, August 11th, and our intention for the day is emotional nurturing. So, if you remember, so far this week, we have been continuing our journey of self discovery. We've been in a review process. That's what this is called for me, and I really feel called to review. So we've been in a review process. And this week has involved looking inward, it's involved communicating and expressing outward, it's involved just kind of relaxing and chilling and doing neither of those things. But the overall revelations kind of that we've had this week have been that the journey needs to continue and it needs to reach its next step. But in order to do that, I think we really need to tap in to our emotional capacity for nurturing. I want us to remind ourselves how we make our emotional sides thrive. What we can do to help ourselves help others as well. How we can provide nurturing to both ourselves and others. I think in terms of how we've been focusing this week, I think the idea is if we nurture ourselves, that'll help us express and provide nurturing outside of ourselves. So hopefully the tarot spread today gives us some idea about how emotional nurturing, what part that can play in our continuing journey of review. Let's go ahead and shuffle the deck and get straight to it. So as I shuffle the deck, I'm diving into my emotion. I'm diving into my emotional core. I'm trying to repeat the word nurture as I'm doing this as well. So think about nurturing with me, what that means to you right now. And let's shuffle the deck and take some deep breaths. Okay, so I've brought the deck from chaos into unity, and I am ready to draw my first card. I'm doing the thinking, feeling, doing spread, as usual, and in the thinking position, the card that I draw is the 10 of Cups. Yay! The 10 of Cups in thinking is really validating for me. It really is healing today for me. It's showing me that in our thoughts, we are positive. We're thinking about community. If you remember yesterday, in the Lenormand pair, we drew the garden. And so there was this idea, finishing up the spread, about reaching out to our community, potentially. The 10 of Cups in thinking is showing me that if we did that, today we are thinking about celebration with those groups. Today we are thinking about unity, peace, contentment above all, but with a celebratory bent. And I think that with the garden, getting the garden in the Lenormand pair yesterday, I think that if we didn't engage in that, because part of it was just maybe we're just being called to start thinking about what community that is that we want to unite with, that I think today we're thinking about that community still, and wherever we kind of landed with that thought, there's a sense that if we didn't actualize that we're really close to actualizing it, and that once we do find that group, find that unity, there's going to be a celebratory vibe. There's certainly going to be contentment. If you don't have a social group that you interact with on a regular basis, there is nothing wrong with that either. But this card is definitely hinting to the fact that there's one out there. Getting the 10 in thinking means that some part of your thought process knows that somewhere there is a community for you. And the 10 here is saying you'll find it, and it'll bring you a lot of contentment. Hopefully the rest of the deck stays in this vein. I mean, the rest of the spread stays in this vein. But it's tarot, so we never know. We will use our intuition. Let's see. The second card that I draw in the feeling position turns out to be the Page of Swords. Okay, so the Page of Swords in feeling is very interesting. I think what I'm seeing is that staying above our emotions today, getting a top-down view of our emotions is where we have control. It's also a great place to begin a journey or to begin a new phase of a journey. This idea of this top-down view, you are where you are, you're staying above your emotions, you're engaging with them, but you're above that. You're not going to get too deep or, overwhelmed. You're able to stay above it, and at this new phase of the journey, you're able to get a lay of the land. You're able to see all the paths in front of you. You're able to see maybe what other people are doing. You're able to see potentialities from a top-down perspective. So that's really important, emotionally in particular, because if we can stay above our emotions at the beginning of a journey or the beginning of a new phase of a journey, we can definitely know where to go in a way that can protect us. And again, I want to bring back the 10 of Cups here, because I think there is this call that maybe you're not alone on top of this hill. Maybe you're not. Maybe what's helping you stay above all of this is your community, but maybe it isn't. Maybe this top-down perspective is what helps you. This top-down perspective is what helps you find that community. Maybe it gives you a top-down perspective of different communities in your life and lets you kind of see, where in my journey should I go to get the most help? To have the most supportive group around me. But at this stage, the Page of Swords is showing me that we still want to be getting a perspective before we make a big motion. Before we really start our journey forward in earnest, or the new phase of our journey forward in earnest, I want us to get perspective. We're being called to get perspective first and foremost, but also to stay above emotions. Don't let emotions take you under today. That's key as well. But the 10 of Cups, I don't think we'll let that happen. Okay, so now let's move on to doing and see what we can do with that perspective. In the doing position, the card that I draw is the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Okay, a little bit of a reality check, I think. Doesn't take away from the celebration with groups. It doesn't take away from unity and contentment. And it certainly doesn't take away from being able to stay above your emotions and get a perspective. What it does say, though, is that with all of that, we might lose sight of some inevitabilities. We might lose sight of the fact that the wheel will turn with or without our control. In fact, we can have no control over how the wheel turns. It's hinting that maybe some of that contentment, this group unity, your perspective and ability to stay above your emotions today and be in control and understand the future, choosing paths and all of that, The wheel reverse is here to say that may be blinding you from the realities of the situation. Meaning, you may choose a really correct path that you see from a top-down view, and all of your logic and all of your friends and all of your, intuitional force may all be guiding you towards specific paths, and you may choose it. And that may be the right one. But the wheel reverse is here to say, don't let that blind you to the fact that that path will have obstacles. Don't be guided by a false sense of positivity that everything you do is right 100% of the time. Or even if it is right, that it's going to be 100% contentment and success all the way forever. The wheel says, hey, remember, you were doing the right thing by doing this. The wheel definitely isn't saying that we aren't doing the right thing by engaging, sharing our perspective, by staying above our emotions. That's all the right stuff to do. I think the other cards tell us that. I think the wheel is here to tell us that, and it's also here to remind us, guys, I want to bring us back to the intention of emotional nurturing. Remember, with the group with the 10 of Cups, that card exudes emotional nurturing. The staying above your emotion, the best way to emotionally nurture yourself and your groups, and to choose the right path, is to apply a sense of pragmatism to your emotional approach to how you nurture. So that's what all that is. The wheel is here to say that emotional nurturing isn't going to just be one thing all the time. The wheel reversed is here to say, to emotionally nurture correctly, we have to have gone through cycles ourselves. Or we're going to have to go through cycles. There's nothing to emotionally nurture in pure bliss and perfection. Emotional nurturing is needed when the cycle doesn't turn out the way we want it to. When the wheel turns in a direction we didn't anticipate. That's when emotional nurturing is required. With that in mind, let's turn to our Lenormand pair to give us a little bit of guidance into how we can maybe not only action emotional nurturing, but maybe accept the inevitability of change. So I want to shuffle the Lenormand deck by bringing back our intention of emotional nurturing. I brought us back to that when we saw the wheel. I want us to really focus on that while we shuffle here. So let's do that. Take some deep breaths. Recenter now with the idea of nurture. Let's do that. Okay, so I've brought the deck from chaos back into unity, thinking about emotional nurturing, inevitability of change, and I'm ready to draw my cards. The first card that I draw is the Stork. The Stork is the card of change, the card of transformation. It's also the card of new ideas, potentially rebirth as well, but definitely change and transformation. So immediately we're tying back into the wheel. Change is always imminent. It has happened, it is happening, it will happen. But I want to right away go to the second card to see what kind of change we can expect or what action we can take with that. Let's see. The second card that I draw is the Anchor. So what's hinted at here with the combination of the Stork and the Anchor is that whatever change we encounter, whatever change we're dealing with now, whatever change has happened, whatever change is imminent, will be stable. This change will provide durability. This change could even be resilient. This change is going to be imbued with a sense of strength. So seeing the wheel reversed, after seeing the 10 of Cups, and then this, page above it all of Swords, staying above our emotions. This idea of celebrating with groups, but also understanding our own unique perspective and how that's important. The reason that those things are so important is because when we saw the wheel reverse, we were reminded change is inevitable. Those stable ideas, a perspective, a choice based on knowledge, a choice based on collaboration, a choice that brings contentment, all of the choice can be upended or impacted by the inevitability of change. And we'll have to rely on that perspective, rely on those groups, rely on that knowledge to make it through inevitable change. But we have to accept inevitable change. Well, having the stork and the anchor here is telling us that inevitable change, the one that's probably right on the horizon, the one through this review process we've kind of been preparing for, that change will bring stability. That transformation will give us strength and foundation. So it's saying here, embrace inevitable change. Embrace the cycle as if you're celebrating the inevitability of change. Going back to the 10 of Cups, embrace a celebratory vibe around the inevitability of transition, the inevitability that things will happen. We want to get the perspective that the Page of Swords has. We want to celebrate with our groups, our successes, but we also want to accept that everything could change at any moment, but that's okay. Because by seeing the anchor with the stork, those changes are going to be powerful, but powerfully strong. They're going to make us powerfully strong. So be celebratory today, guys. Embrace contentment. Get the perspective you need. Gather the knowledge you need together. Choose a path, but accept and embrace change, transformation, and the cycle. Because within that is durable, powerful, foundational strength. I'll see you tomorrow.